Okay, so vocab notebook should be open to a clean page. We are starting a new chapter in our reading textbook today. At the top of the page, the title of this chapter is Bright Ideas. And then you need today's date, January 11th, 2021. And then we are going to start with number 1. We have 8 words today. Our first word is the word hilarious. Hilarious. H-I-L-A-R-I-O-U-S. H-I-L-A-R-I-O-U-S. You need to make sure that every single letter, symbol, word matches exactly what I have on here. I keep saying that, and yet there are still people who it is not matching. You are going too fast. You are not being careful. Hilarious. H-I-L-A-R-I-O-U-S. Now, everybody has heard this word before in the past. You all have some idea of what it means, but here is the official definition. It is an adjective. That means it's a describing word. For the rest, let's see. It's an adjective. That means it describes a noun, a person, a place, or a thing, or an idea. And it means something makes you laugh a lot. So hilarious, H-I-L-A-R-I-O-U-S, is an adjective that means something makes you laugh a lot. Something is really, really funny. Here it is in context. We laughed at the hilarious antics of the pet monkey in the movie. So that means what the antics of the monkey, what the monkey did, were hilarious. They were very funny. They made you laugh a lot. So again, hilarious, H-I-L-A-R-I-O-U-S, is an adjective that means something makes you laugh a lot. Number 2 is the word convince. Convince. C-O-N-V-I-N-C-E. Convince. C-O-N-V-I-N-C-E. Convince. Convince is a verb. It's an action. We're going to start verbs today, actually. We're going to start talking about them. Verb. It's an action. It's something that happens. And it means to talk someone into accepting your views. So to convince, C-O-N-V-I-N-C-E, is a verb. It's an action. It means to talk someone into accepting your views. What did I miss there? Yes, Aaron.
Can you spell expecting?
Accepting, not expecting. Accepting. A-C-C-E-P-T-I-N-G. Accepting, not expecting. So that means if you convince someone, you talk somebody into believing the same thing you believe. That's what it means to talk someone into accepting your views. You've talked somebody into believing what you believe or what you think. That's what it means to convince. Here it is in context. Sam convinced us to recycle. That means Sam talked whoever us is into recycling. So convince, C-O-N-V-I-N-C-E, is a verb. It means to talk someone into accepting your views. Now we may see it in a different form. We may see it with a D at the end, which just means it already happened. It's past tense. We'll learn about verb tense, I think, next week. Number 3 is the word mischief. Mischief. M-I-S-C-H-I-E-F. Mischief. M-I-S-C-H-I-E-F. Mischief. Mischief is a noun. It's a thing. And it means it is something amusing. Amusing means funny or fun. Something amusing that may cause trouble. You've all probably heard this word before and have some idea of what it means. Now you know for sure. Mischief. M-I-S-C-H-I-E-F. It is a noun. It's a thing. And it's something amusing that may cause trouble. So something that you think is fun or funny, but you may get in trouble for it. Here it is in context. My cat gets into mischief in my closet. Well, your cat probably thinks it's fun to play with the bottom of your shirts or the bottom of your pants, but it may cause trouble because he may put scratches in it or holes in it. So that's what mischief means. M-I-S-C-H-I-E-F. It is a noun. It means something amusing that may cause trouble. Anybody need me to spell any of these words? Okay, number 4 is independence. Okay, we're going to have to switch things around. So helper number 2, you will be doing numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. So helper number 2, please put a star next to these numbers. Helper number 3, you will be doing 5, 6, 7, and 8 today, okay? Which means you'll have words today and tomorrow, but it'll be okay. So independence is number 4. I-N-D-E-P-E-N-D-E-N-C-E. Independence. I-N-D-E-P-E-N-D-E-N-C-E. Independence. That is an E but after the D, not an A. It is another noun. So it's another thing or idea. Hold on one second. Okay, so independence. I-N-D-E-P-E-N-D-E-N-C-E is a noun. It's a thing or an idea. It's an idea. And it is the ability to govern, think, or choose for yourself. So if you have independence, it means you have the ability to govern, think, or choose for yourself. If a country has independence, it means the ability to govern for themselves. So independence, I-N-D-E-P-E-N-D-E-N-C-E. It's a noun, it's an idea, and it means the ability to govern, think, or choose for yourself. Here it is in context. The American colonies won independence in the Revolutionary War. That means the American colonies won the ability to govern themselves. Any questions on how to spell anything in this definition? Okay, one more time. Independence. INDEPENDENCE. It is a noun, it's an idea, and it means the ability to govern, think, or choose for yourself. Okay, so Kingston, those are yours. Numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 are yours. Mason, now we're starting on yours. Number
It's
5.
Victoria.
I'm hoping.
Oh, sorry, Victoria. I don't know why I said, oh, because it looks like a 4 from here.
Yeah.
That's why I said, sorry, so Victoria, that means so Mason, never mind. It just looks like a 4 from here. So you'll have ones today and tomorrow. Okay, number 5. Actually, maybe not. But you'll definitely have them today. So numbers 5 through 8 are yours, Victoria. Number 5 is the word handy. Handy. H-A-N-D-Y. Handy. H-A-N-D-Y. It is an adjective. So it's a describing word. It describes a noun. And it means something is nearby or something makes things easier. So if a thing is handy, it either means that it's nearby, like my face shield is handy, it's nearby, or it could mean that something makes things easier. The pointer comes in handy for pointing out specific words or letters. Okay? It's easier. The pointer makes it easier than my hand. So, one more time, handy. H-A-N-D-Y. Handy. H-A-N-D-Y. It is an adjective. It describes a noun. And it means that something is nearby or that something makes things easier. It could mean one of those two things. Could be both. The pointer is handy, it's nearby, and it comes in handy. It makes things easier. Here it is in context. I like to keep extra batteries handy. I like to keep extra batteries nearby so that if something runs out, I have them. Did you remember leave half the page blank? And then start with, did you get number 5? If not, just leave half the page blank and start on number 6. So go about halfway down. A little more. A little more. There you go. And then start with number 6. Because I do have to erase, because I think it's a little too low. So I'm going to erase numbers 1, 2, and 3. And number 6 is the word whirlwind. Whirlwind. W-H-I-R-L-W-I-N-D. Whirlwind. W-H-I-R-L-W-I-N-D. What kind of word is whirlwind? Michaela? A compound word. 2 small words squished together to make one big word. Michaela, what are the 2 small words? Whirl and wind. What does whirl mean? What does the word whirl mean? Zari?
Something is spinning.
Like spinning around. And then we know wind is what? Mason? So when air moves. So we think a whirlwind is probably when moving air kind of spins around. Let's find out if that's true. Well, a whirlwind is a noun. And it is a storm with circular motion. Well, that's what we thought a whirlwind was. When air moves around kind of in a circle, not quite like a tornado, not as tightly, but think about sometimes when you see the leaves kind of spin around. That would be a small whirlwind. So a whirlwind is a noun. It is a storm with a circular motion. But it has another definition too, like handy. It has a second definition, which is the way we will see it today. The other definition is rushed movement. So if you are moving in a rushed way, or if something is moving in a rushed way, like people on Christmas Eve trying to get their last minute gifts, that would also be a whirlwind of shoppers, because they're moving around all crazy and chaotic and rushed to get done. So there are two definitions for a whirlwind: W-H-I-R-L, W-I-N-D. It's a noun, it's a thing. Both definitions are a thing. It's either a literal storm with circular motion, that is the literal definition of a whirlwind, or it's an idiom, meaning rushed movement. Remember, we talked about idioms. Idioms are non-literal expressions or words that do not literally mean what they say. So here it is in context. Figure out which definition whirlwind follows in this sentence. Her 3 days in the city were a whirlwind of activity. Which definition fits that word the way I used it? Carla.
Rush movement.
Rushed movement. Very good. She was only in the city for 3 days. There was so much she wanted to see. So it was a whirlwind. She did a lot in those 3 days. She ran around like crazy trying to get those things done. Okay, number 7 is the word dizzy. We all know what this means too. Dizzy. D-I-Z-Z-Y. Dizzy. Dizzy is an adjective. It's a describing word. It describes a feeling. It describes how something feels or how you feel. And it means that someone finds it hard to keep his or her balance. So dizzy. D-I-Z-Z-Y. Dizzy. D-I-Z-Z-Y. It is an adjective that means someone finds it hard to keep his or her balance. Think about if you spin around in a circle for a little bit. You feel dizzy afterwards. You find it hard to keep your balance. Yes, quickly.
Tell us the definition of dizzy is like when you try to have your foot up.
Yeah, or like when you stand up straight. Although really, that's a little different because there is a reason that you can't keep your balance because you don't have both feet. But dizzy is when you have both feet on the ground, but you still feel like you can't keep your balance. Do you see the difference? Mm-hmm. Because right now, I may find it a little hard to keep my balance, but that's because I have my foot up. But if I spin around really fast, well, I have both feet on the ground, but I'm having trouble keeping my balance. You see, I just fell a little bit. So there's a little bit of a difference. Ooh, okay, here it is in context. Angela felt dizzy when she got off the ride at the county fair. So she was walking, she was using her 2 feet, but maybe it spun a lot, so she was having trouble keeping her balance. And last word, number 8, is the word nowadays. Nowadays. Now this is all one word. Nowadays. 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 It's all one word. Do not put any spaces. Nowadays. It is a noun. In this case, a thing. It's a time frame. It's like a period of time. And it means, wait, hold on. Something happening in, oh wait, it's not a noun, I'm sorry. Sorry, it's not a noun. It's an adverb. Whoops, sorry. An adverb. It describes an action, specifically when something is happening. So nowadays is an adverb. It describes an action because it says something happening in the present time. Adverbs describe when something happens. Oops. So again, nowadays, Nowadays, all one word, no spaces. It is an adverb. It describes an action when that action is happening. And it means that something is happening in the present time. So if something is happening nowadays, it's happening now. Not maybe right this minute, but in the present time. So here it is in context. People use computers nowadays instead of typewriters. So not all people are using computers right this second, but in the present time, if somebody needs to type something, they're going to use a computer instead of a typewriter. Okay, any questions about the vocab words? Okay, once you're done writing them all down, don't close them because we have some notes to add. So remember, this is where we are going to add some notes. They're not vocab words, so they won't have numbers, but like fact and opinion, where we skipped like 2 lines, and then we added the information. So, next, I want you to skip like 2 or 3 lines in your notebook, because we're adding 2 words that are not part of your vocab, but they are the skill that we're going to be working on. This week in reading, we're going to be working on problem and solution. We're going to be finding problems, figuring out what the people in the stories do to get to the solution. We've kind of done this before, but we're going to go a little bit more in depth. So the first word that we need to talk about is the word problem. The problem in a story. So what is the problem? Well, a problem is something that needs to be solved. Now, a problem is not necessarily a bad thing. In some stories it is, but it's not always a bad thing. The problem could be, hey, I need a ride to my friend's house. Well, have you solved that yet? If you know you need a ride to your friend's house, but you haven't asked anybody for a ride yet, have you solved that yet? Have you figured out how you're going to get to your friend's house? No, but is that a bad problem to have? No. So a problem is just something that needs to be solved. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. We see problem and we think, hey, something bad's happening. Well, think about math. Those problems we have to solve. They're not bad things. It's like how many pieces of candy go in each bag. That's not a bad thing. It's just something that has to be solved. A solution is how the problem is solved. So the solution means, what's the answer to the problem? The problem was, I need a ride to my friend's house this weekend. The actions that I took were, I went and asked my mom. My mom said she couldn't, she had to work. Well, then I took the second action, I went and asked my dad. My dad said yes. Now that's the solution. My dad's gonna take me to my friend's house. So we have a problem, and then we have actions that are taken to get to the solution. The solution doesn't come right away. We have to take actions to get to that solution. Oh.
Is needed for checkout.
So this is the skill we're going to be working on this week. So as we read, we're going to be filling out a problem and solution chart. We're going to figure out, okay, what's the problem? What needs to be solved? Then we're going to list the actions that characters or a character takes to get to that solution. The solution doesn't come right away. Characters have to take actions in order to get to the solution. Like in math, the problem is whatever they give you. But then you have to take actions, you have to show your work in order to get to that solution, the answer to that math problem. Okay, so that's what we're going to be looking at. Go ahead and close your vocab notebook and put it away. And open to page 220. Okay, so everybody should be open to page 220 in your textbook. The chapter title is Bright Ideas. So every story we read in this chapter is going to have something to do with a bright idea. Let's look at the picture and I'm going to read the talk about it. What's happening here? Would you put your hand on that shiny ball? Why? So what is happening? Who thinks they know what's happening here? Kingston, loudly.
Someone's touching like a shiny ball that will make it.
So, okay, so they're touching a shiny ball that makes their hair come out. What does that shiny ball have that makes your hair come out? Ethan? Electricity. So that means the electricity from that shiny ball is traveling through their body and making their hair stand up. It's like if you've ever been on one of those like the plastic slide on the playground. The static electricity from the plastic makes your hair stand up to try to touch the plastic. So that's what's happening here. She's touching this ball. There's electricity in it, not bad electricity, not that's going to like shock you, but enough to make the static electricity make her hair stand up. Would you touch it? If you think no, Mason, why would you not touch it?
Because it's really dangerous.
Because it could be, he thinks it could be dangerous, okay? It might shock you, okay? Maybe, I don't know. If you would touch it, raise your hand. Aaron, why would you touch it?
Because I would touch it because it looks really fun.
It looks fun. She thinks, I guess you think it might be funny to have your hair stick up and take a picture. Maybe. I would probably, I don't know. I would have to think about it for a second. I would have to watch somebody else do it first, and then I'd do it. Okay. So go ahead and turn the page to page 222. And what we're doing today is we're reading a biography. Remember, a biography is a story about a person. A biography is written by somebody else. What is it called when the biography is written by the person it's about? Who remembers? Anybody? A biography written by the person that it's about is called an autobiography. It means they wrote it about themselves. This is a biography. So it is not written by the person it's about. But let's look. I'm sorry. As you read, I want you to be thinking about this. Because remember, we're going to be filling out this problem and solution chart. So as you read, we're trying to figure out the problem and the solution. This is a biography, which means a person is the one who discovers this problem and takes the actions to find the solution. So as you're reading this, you need to think, what problem does this person, the subject of the biography, face? What problem are they seeing? Is it something simple, like they need a ride to their friend's house? Or is it something difficult, like they need to solve this problem for everybody? Think about that as you're reading. What is the problem that this person, the subject of this biography, is facing? Then think, what does the subject, or you can think, what does the subject want or need to do? Because sometimes a problem is, hey, I want lunch. That's a problem. Have we solved it yet? No. So you need to take actions to get your lunch, to solve that problem. Or what do they need to do? The problem is, I need to do my homework. I haven't finished it yet. So I need to take action in order to get my homework done. That will help you to identify the problem. Then you're going to find the actions. What does the subject of the biography do to solve whatever the problem is? To do what they need to do, to get what they want, or to solve this major problem. So be thinking about that as we read. Okay. Make sure that you are ready to read. Thank you, those of you who understand what it means when it's time to get ready. And Smith, please go ahead and start with the title. Oh, no, wait. Read the little dictionary piece on the bookmark, because we're going to be seeing those in this story.
Dictionary. Idioms are phrases whose meanings differs from the meaning of each word.
And then we have an example of an idiom.
Come in handy equals be useful.
So the phrase come in handy means that something is useful. Handy, we know, means it's nearby. That's the literal meaning. It's nearby. So the idiom come in handy means that something is useful. It may not be nearby, but it is useful. I know that having a car comes in handy when you need to get somewhere, but is my car anywhere near me right now? No. You guys don't have cars, but you know they make things easier, right? Your parents have cars. So, come in handy doesn't literally mean that it's nearby. It just means that something is useful. It's an idiom. Okay, Smith, go ahead and read the title, the author, and the first paragraph.
He Made the World Brighter by Susan Dixon. Thomas Edison was a poor student. Hilarious? It is funny when you know how he turned out.
Pause for a second. So when it says Thomas Edison was a poor student, it doesn't mean poor as in he didn't have a lot of money. It means poor as in he wasn't a good student. He didn't do well in school. I'm not worried about that right now. Just hold on to it. It doesn't mean he didn't have money. He may have, I'm not sure. But in this case, it means he didn't do well at school. He didn't get good grades. And we know Thomas Edison was a really important inventor. So it is kind of funny that he was not a good student, but he's so important to us now. Keep reading, Smith. Everybody finger following along.
Even if his grades didn't show it, the mother of this future inventor was convinced he was smart. After a few disappointing months in school, he decided to teach Thomas herself at home.
Okay. So Thomas Edison's mother knew he was smart, even though he wasn't doing well in school. He knew that she knew that he could do it. Maybe he just needed something different. So instead of being in school, she decided, well, I'm going to teach him at home. Let's see, Cullen's not here. Thank you, Smith. Read next, Victoria. Everybody finger following along. You're going to read this whole section, Victoria, loudly so that we can hear you and so that the girls at home can hear you.
Thomas's childhood. Thomas Alvia.
Not Alvia, you're adding letters. Make sure you're pointing at the word and only reading the letters that are there. You added an I, there's no I. So say that word without that E sound. Why are you adding an E sound? Is there any letter there that would add an E sound? Cover up everything but the AL, and how would you say that? That part was correct. How would you say AL?
Ow.
Cover up everything but the VA. How would you say that?
A.
Not. Is there a Y at the end or an E to make that A long? So how would you say that? The. Okay, so say it again. Put those sounds together. Guys, slow down. You're adding letters and sounds where there are none.
Ow.
Read the whole, start at the beginning. Louder.
Thomas's childhood. Thomas Alva Edison was born in 1849.
Nope.
47.
Use your finger to only point at the word. Don't just point at the general direction. Point at each word as you're reading it. Move your finger as you're reading it.
Was born in 1847 in Ohio. Always curious and
Louder.
prone to
This is our vocabulary word. Start the sentence again, loudly, please.
always curious and prone to mischief. Thomas read whenever he could. Thomas's first job at 13 was selling newspapers. Back then, that's when most boys started working. 16, he
No, you skipped a word.
At 16, he became a telegrapher. This gave Thomas independence and an opportunity to travel. Shortly after this, Edison decided to be an inventor.
So now we know where he decided to get those inventions, where he decided he was going to invent something. Do we know the problem yet? No, we don't. We saw a small problem where he wasn't doing well in school, but what was the solution there? Smith?
His mom homeschooled him.
His mom homeschooled him. But do you think that's what this whole story is about? No, because we're already reading past his education. This paragraph that Victoria just read, or this section, doesn't really have anything to do with his education. It's just how his childhood went. Okay, Zadie, please read next. Everybody finger ready to follow along. Some of you are still not doing this, and it's causing all of us to have to wait on you because you're not looking at the correct words. So please use your finger to follow along. Loudly and slowly.
The young inventor. Not everything Thomas invented was a success. In fact, his first invention, an electric vote recorder, failed. Edison thought it would come in handy for counting votes. No one else found it useful, but that didn't stop Edison.
Keep going.
Edison's greatest challenge. Back then, gas was the best lighting source, but burning it was dirty and unhealthy. Gas could also be very dangerous. The idea of using electricity for lighting had been around for over 50 years, but nobody had developed anything practical or safe.
What did we find in this paragraph? What did we find in this paragraph? Aaron, we found a problem. What is the problem here in this, the rest of this that we're going to find in this biography? You can tell me exactly what it says in the book. Louder.
Back then, gas was the best lighting source, but burning it was dirty and unhealthy.
So, the problem is? Gas was the best lighting. These words are in your book. If you can't read them up here, they're in your book. We just took out the phrase back then because we don't need back then. we know the problem is gas was the best lighting source, comma, but it was, but, not it. Burning it was dirty and unhealthy. Aaron, can you tell us how you knew that that was the problem? Can you put your thinking into words and tell us how you knew that was the problem? That gas was the best lighting source, but burning it was dirty and unhealthy.
I knew because if it's dirty and unhealthy, then that should be a
So it's not good. If something that you have to use all the time is dirty, unhealthy, and dangerous, is that a good thing? Is that something that you just want to keep doing? No. You want to figure out how you can do it in a way that is less dirty, not unhealthy, and not dangerous. So let's keep reading to figure out, okay, what actions does Thomas Edison take to get to a solution? Do you think he's going to find the solution right away? No, he's probably going to have to try a few things to get there. Zari, are you able to read right now?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and read next. Everybody, finger ready to follow along. Zari, tell us the first 3 words where our fingers should be.
Edison set out.
Edison set out, so your fingers should be there. Zari, go ahead.
Edison set out to solve problem.
Oh, don't skip words.
Edison set out to solve this problem. He improved upon what others had learned about electricity. He tested thousands of ideas in a whirlwind of activity. Several men helped Edison with his experiments.
Okay, pause. Has Thomas Edison done anything yet to try to find the solution? Think about it, please. Look at what Zari just read. Has Edison done anything yet to try to solve the problem? I'm not asking, did he solve the problem? I'm asking, has he done anything to try to get to the problem? Ethan? What was the first thing he did to try to solve the problem? Very good. So we know the first thing he did was Edison improved on what others had learned about electricity. That means he did research. He researched what other people had to say about electricity. So was Thomas Edison the first person to do anything with electricity? No. We know that because it says he improved on what others had learned about electricity. Who knows who the very first person who discovered electricity was? Or who we credit with discovering electricity? Victoria? Benjamin Franklin. I wonder if we're going to read about him in a chapter all about bright ideas. Bright? That makes me think of light. I know electricity causes light. I wonder if we're going to read about him. So first, he researched what other people had to say about electricity, and then he added to that information. He added more to the information we had about electricity. Okay? What was the second thing he did? Michaela?
He tested thousands of ideas in a whirlwind of electricity.
So the next thing he did, after he learned everything he could and added to what we knew about electricity, the next thing he did was Edison tried thousands of ideas. So did he stop after the first failed idea? No, he tried thousands of times. Some of you look at a math problem and immediately say, I can't do it. What would have happened if Edison had done that? Zadie?
We might not have electricity.
We might not have electricity the way we have it today. We might still be using gas. So should you stop after one try? No. Now you don't necessarily have to try thousands of times, but you should try at least 3. Usually by the 3rd try you're going to get it. Okay, and what was the 3rd thing he did? Or, well, the 3rd action that our story tells us, or our biography? Victoria.
It doesn't, like, it says half of what I'm about to say.
Okay.
He probably asked the several men to help him.
Good. Very good. So did he do this all on his own? No, he tried thousands of ideas and it seems like none of them worked yet. So did he just give up and say, I've tried thousands of ideas, I can't do it? No, he asked for help. So the last thing he did, or at least that we have in our biography, was Edison asked others for help. Because he had information on electricity and ideas, but they weren't working. Well, other people also had information about electricity and ideas, so maybe putting them together would bring us to our solution. Zari, keep reading. Tell us where to put our fingers. Carla, are you focusing? You might have to watch this video again tonight because I don't know if you're focusing right now. Okay? Zari, go ahead. Carla, we have to move on, please. We have to move on. Please let Zari read. Okay, we have 10 minutes. Zari, go ahead and read.
By 1880, they had burned a light bulb for more than 1,500 hours. They must have felt dizzy with excitement.
Oh, so do you think these 3 actions might have led to a solution? It sounds like it. If they're excited about it, it probably means they've either found their solution or they're almost there. Zari, are you able to finish out, or do you want me to call on somebody else?
You can go ahead and call someone else.
Okay. And that's me. Okay, everybody, finger on this was just the beginning. Sounds like we found the solution. This was just the beginning. Edison's success led to the invention of an entire electric lighting system. Nowadays, many appliances and lights run on electricity. It is hard to imagine life without it. So next time you turn on your computer, think of Thomas Edison and say, thanks. So what was the solution? The problem was gas was the best lighting source, but burning it was dirty and unhealthy. The first thing Edison tried was he improved on what others had learned about electricity. He researched what we knew about electricity and then added to it. Then he tried thousands of ideas. When that didn't seem to be working, he asked others for help. And by doing these 3 things, what was the solution to this problem? Michaela?
He successfully led to the invention of an eternal light system.
Lighting system. Go slow so that you read every single syllable. Good. Well, the first thing he did was, what was the first thing he invented here? He invented one thing. What was it? You might have to look into what Zari read. What was the very first thing he invented? What do we know Thomas Edison for inventing? The what? Mason?
The electric voting company?
No, not that. That wasn't really a problem that needed solved. He solved that, but it wasn't really a problem because people didn't need help voting. I'm saying look at what Zari read. What was the first successful thing that we actually needed that solved this problem? It was just a small thing. It was a part of the larger thing. Zari.
I knew where it was, I just don't know where it is now.
Okay, Zadie.
A light bulb.
So Edison invented a long-lasting light bulb. So that means people before might have come up with the idea of a light bulb, but they couldn't get it to last very long. Now our light bulbs they can last for like years. Some of them last for maybe a couple months. Some of them can last for years. Who knows when this projector light bulb was last changed? Not since I've been here. And I've been here for 4 years. This is the 4th year. So that's what I'm saying. Some light bulbs are able to last for years. Some last a few months. Usually we don't have light bulbs that only last a few days. That means something was wrong with the light bulb or something's wrong with the light fixture. So that means other people had come up with the idea of a light bulb. They just couldn't get it to last a long time. Well, Edison, through these 3 actions, invented a long-lasting light bulb, which led to the invention of what? Zari?
A long-lasting light bulb.
Well, we already have that. He invented a long-lasting light bulb, which led to the invention of what, Zadie?
An entire electrical lighting system.
So he invented a long-lasting light bulb and, that says in the book, and an electric lighting system. And that lighting system that he created not only allows us to have lights, it also allows us to have computers, because these plugs were invented, the electricity that comes out of these plugs so that we can plug our things in the United States comes from Thomas Edison. He is the one that came up with this type of electricity, the AC current. So anytime you plug something in and it works, thank Edison. Because without him, not only would we not have light bulbs, but we wouldn't be able to plug anything in. Our phones, our computers, our tablets, whatever you have that you have to plug into into the wall, or plug into something that is plugged into the wall. Yes, Mason?
Did he create laptops?
No, he did not create laptops, but we are able to use laptops because of the electricity that he came up with. The electric lighting system, the electric system that he came up with, the AC current. That's what it's called. I think it's called alternating, I think AC stands for alternating current or something. So it's probably not AC current, it's just AC electricity, alternating current electricity. I think that's what it stands for. Michaela, what did you want to say? Okay. Kingston, quickly, we have like 5 minutes, so we can have a little short discussion about Thomas Edison and problem and solution. I don't know. Laptops, a lot earlier than we think, but in the amount of time the world has been around, not that long ago. But it was longer ago than we think. Like, I think I saw something on my time hop that said when the first laptop was created, and it was much earlier than I would have thought. Okay, so remember, problems are what needs to be solved. Are they always necessarily a bad thing that has to be changed? No, in this case, yes, it was. But remember, a problem can be something like, I'm hungry for lunch. That's not a big thing. It's not hard to solve. The actions you take are you go to the refrigerator, you get out stuff to make a sandwich, you make the sandwich. The solution is you're not hungry anymore. You ate the sandwich, now you're not hungry. But sometimes they are things that take a lot of actions to get to the solution, like in Thomas Edison's case. Do you think it was easy to find a solution to this? No, we see that he tried thousands of ideas and then he still couldn't get it and had to ask other people. He had to do research and he had to add to the research. Do you think this happened quickly? No, it took many, many years. Not hundreds of years, but it took a long time. So in this case, our problem was something that was not easy to solve. Even when our problem is easy to solve, do you think there are actions that come between? think about you're hungry for lunch. Are you just automatically not hungry anymore? Do you skip right from I'm hungry for lunch to I'm not hungry anymore? No, you have to get the lunch. You have to make it in between. So even easy problems have actions that lead to the solution. There are always actions that lead us to the solution, no matter how easy or hard the problem is. The problem is, I need a ride to school. Well, I ask Mom, are you taking me to school tomorrow? She says, no, I have to work early. So I do my second action. I go to Dad, are you taking me to school tomorrow? He says, yeah. My solution is, I get to school. Okay? So, there are always actions between a problem and a solution. There are always things you need to do between recognizing the problem and getting to the solution. Okay, any questions about Thomas Edison? Or I'm sorry, problem or solution? Not Thomas Edison, because I can't answer all your questions. But any questions about problem and solution? Okay, so keep those questions in mind where you're thinking, what does the character need to do? What does he want? What does he need? What is the problem that needs solving? That's how you'll come up with the problem. Once you find the problem, it's not so hard to figure out the actions and the solution. You just have to recognize the problem. Okay, so go ahead, put those away. You will have homework. On the front, you have blanks that you're going to fill in with a vocab word, then fill in the crossword puzzle. On the back, you're working with the skill, problem and solution. You're going to read this passage. Don't forget to read the box at the top. You're going to read this passage and then answer the questions about problem and solution. You must, for numbers 2, 3, and 4, you must write in complete sentences. So everybody write that. Numbers 2 through 4, write in complete sentences. Number 1, you do not have to. As soon as you're done with that, put that in your take-home folder, then stand up with your things for Spanish. Aaron, does he knock on the door? Oh, okay. So numbers 2 through 4, write in complete sentences. Number 1, you do not have to. Once you have added that direction, put that in return to school. Get out your stuff for Spanish. You need your Spanish folder and your pencil bag.